on site. And so versatile, it can perform perfectly in salt water or fresh, surface or deep. Its movement grabs the fish's attention. Its colors set it apart as prey. Its sound provokes the attack. And its scent triggers the strike. Unlike any other lure ever invented, Roland Martin's helicopter lure is actually 4 lures in one. It's a weedless buzzbait. It's a spinnerbait. It's a deep water jig. Plus, it's a weedless plastic worm.
But first, let me finish telling the folks how the helicopter lure actually targets the top 3 irresistible impulses that make the big fish bite. The first major reason why a fish bites is reflex action, just like a cat pouncing on a mouse. Whether you're surface fishing or going deep, the helicopter's unique spinning motion causes the big ones to strike on reflex. Oh, son! Now, the second reason why a fish bites is plain and simple: hunger, just like you and me. The helicopter's distinctive shape and movement and its irresistible scent make it stand out from any other prey in the water. So, it grabs the fish's attention and the fish grabs it. Gotcha! And the third most important reason why a fish bite is one we can all understand at one time or another: anger. The helicopter lure invades the fish's territory and annoys it with its appearance and rotating motion. Plus, it gives off a continual buzzing sound that drives the fish mad. Wham! Reel 'em in, son! Well, congratulations, folks, on the purchase of your helicopter lure. I'm Roland Martin, and this is my co-worker and inventor of the helicopter, Mr. Fred Ward from Phoenix, Arizona. Fred, you know, you and I have been doing lures for a long time. This is the hottest thing ever, isn't it?
It is, and it's going to be really fun for us just to show you how to use this doggone thing.
Well, you know, a lot of people think that the helicopter is just simply a buzz bait, and that's what Fred and I want to talk about right now. There's 5 or 6 applications of it, and 5 or 6 things you have to watch out for so that you won't have any trouble fishing a helicopter. Now, we've used this fairly large swivel on this lure, and let's just show them how to rig it up. To start with, I like to come through the head of the worm part. I'm going to call it a worm head. And come through there about a 1/2 inch. And when you go a 1/2 inch, you twist it and come right out the side. Okay, and you just pull the whole thing down, Texas style, and pull it up on the shoulder of the hook. Now, you notice that hook has a shoulder.
Now, that's really important. A lot of people just don't understand that.
That's
Now,
not
just
a
hold it
straight
right there, and let me push it on up. Now, watch when it goes. See the shoulder right here? This little shoulder. The bottom of this part has to go right on up over that now.
Okay.
Now watch it. It's going to go right on up over.
And
now, see the shoulder popped out right here?
Right through the side.
You can see how the shoulder is popped out. Now,
okay,
that keeps it from coming off, see?
Now, I'm going to turn the thing around. I'm going to turn it around the other way. Now, the hook's coming out. Now, I just kind of gauge where the hook's going to be. I just look at the bottom of the lure and say, okay, I want it to come through right where it's coming through now. And I'm just going to come right in that area and turn it sideways and hook right smack through the whole thing, perpendicular to the axis of the lure, and come up where now the hook point is laying flat against the plastic. And it's flat against the plastic, and that makes it weedless. Now, if you really want to have one more weedless application, and if you're really throwing in heavy weeds and logs, like Fred and I often do, I actually bury the hook point at that point. I bury the hook point right there.
Now show them a little bit more how you do that.
Okay.
Let's get a real close-up.
There's the hook point. There's the hook point. Now I'm going to pull the plastic over the hook point and just let it rest right there. So about a 1/16 of an inch of plastic is now hiding that hook point. So now it can go right over logs.
And just hold it. Just hold the legs here. Now watch what happens when the fish takes it. See, this will be pushed, and that lure. See, the hook just pops right out.
Now, that's the advantage of this wide gap hook. You can use about any hook, but this is a fairly thick shank right here of worm. And so by using a fairly wide gap hook, that means that when they depress it, there's more hooking space. In fact, there's like a 1/2 inch of hooking space between the body of the worm part of the body of the lure and the hook point. So that 1/2 inch makes hooking a lot easier. So now to rig it back up again straight, I just put the hook point just barely in there. Well, now this is a properly rigged helicopter without any weight. But Fred, there's a lot of application for a weight. Why don't you show them how the weight works?
And they're going to get some of these nail weights.
And that's solid lead, right?
That's solid lead. Okay. And it's soft.
You can cut it different lengths.
You can cut it different lengths. But it's going to come in the kit, so you're going to have some of these. And what we do is there's a little hole in the back of the helicopter, and it's real easy to insert. All you do is just stick it right in the little hole and just keep pushing and pushing till it goes right on up in there. Now this will really help the lure to helicopter.
It'll go a lot more faster on the rotation. Rotation will be quite severe. But it's also with that amount of weight, and that's only 1/8 of an ounce. That'll enable the lure to work 10 foot depths.
One of the things is that when you get a little breeze in your face, you need that extra 1/8 of an ounce. You need that extra 1/8 of an ounce to cast into the breeze, and that really helps.
Now, also, speaking of the weight, this lure, these helicopters are designed for both spinning and casting tackle. Fred uses more casting than I do. I use more spinning tackle. They're both excellent. However, we might mention line size for a second. Talking about 12-pound line is about the lightest that I'd want to fish. How about you?
I think 12-pound is the absolute least that you want to fish.
14
and there's
or
a
17?
reason. There's more than one reason for that. Really super light line is so light, it has no tensile strength horizontally at all.
And it wants to twist more.
It will just twist. Even though you have the best swivel in the world, you have 10 swivels, it's still the little tiny light line, 6 and 8 pound test line has the ability to twist. So I recommend 14-pound test line, 14 to 17-pound test line. The way that has been the most productive is to throw this bait out in shallow water and retrieve it in short spurts of maybe 5 or 6 feet and then stop.
So you're just pulling it along.
I like retrieving, and then I like keeping my rod pointing, right at the lure. I don't like my rod way over here out of position in case one strikes. I like my rod pointed right at the bait, and I just keep it coming, and then I'll stop it.
You know, Fred, little boat trails like this in Florida where they just hit 2 or 3 feet of water, that's a perfect situation in the middle of the day for, say, fishing the helicopter like a plastic worm. Just letting it down the bottom, just lifting it up, keeping your rod tip high, watching your line just like you do a plastic worm, watching for the line, the strike, watching the line hit. Now, you're out west, you're out, say, in the Phoenix area, you fish the helicopter deep as a worm a different way.
Well, the way we do it out there is to throw it out, maybe in school fish, for example, and if they're not school fish, just along a submerged island or on the shoreline, and then let it get right on the bottom. Now, we're not talking about having many weeds out there. We don't have a lot.
You're probably adding more weight too, right?
Well, sometimes I'll add a split shot or something to it, or I'll put the little stick weight in the end of it. But what we'll do is just barely crawl it along on the bottom. But one of the things that maybe we haven't really made real clear is that, it is necessary to set the hook. In other words, when you get a strike, whether it's on the surface or a little bit deeper or even on a worm, you need to give a good hook set. You just can't just keep reeling.
I think the biggest analogy, my wife Marianne probably said this, fishing the helicopter is as much like fishing a plastic worm as you can get. So in other words, you need a heavy, stiff rod like you'd fish a plastic worm with. You need pretty stout line like you'd fish a plastic worm with. And when they take the helicopter, whether it's on top, intermediate as a jig or as a worm, you have to treat it like a worm. You have to treat it like, give it line and let your rod get straight. For example, I'm going to demonstrate the proper way of hooking a fish. Now, okay, I don't care how he hits it, whatever mode. When I get the strike and I'm reeling it, no matter what happens, and I'm reeling it along, I feel the strike, I don't instantly set the hook.
It isn't necessary.
No, what you do,
they don't let it go.
I just kind of reel it down, he doesn't let it go, and then I set the hook with my rod straight. I really get some power. And that is like fishing a plastic worm.
That's right.
Well, in fact, we'll show them on the video camera.
Yeah,
we'll show them on the lake, this application of the slightly submerged application of the helicopter.
You never touch the lure.
Big fish, Fred. Get them.
And then when we do stop it, we can just, when I stop it, like if it's by a tree or a bush or a log, then I just let it helicopter down, and generally a strike will either occur there or when you start it back up. But the main thing is that it's not necessarily a buzz bait, is to throw that bait out and let it just come along under the water. Very much similar to we do a spinner bait. We've been doing spinner baits for years that way.
The weight of this swivel and hook and helicopter will make it slowly helicopter on the way down. To make it be a faster helicoptering or rotating lure, we want to add weight. And so what kind of weight do you recommend? The little nail weight.
The little nail weight.
Okay.
It's a great weight. And we'll show you how to apply that a little bit later to this bait, and it helps it to cast farther. Like if you're casting into the wind, it'll help you to cast it farther, and it also helps it to helicopter if you're going to helicopter, you know, like 7 or 8 feet deep, which is also very, very effective to do that too.
Now,
and that's perfect size.
you spoke of line twist. The biggest nemesis of the helicopter might be perceived as line twist. Now, Fred, we've been fishing for about 15 minutes, and let's see if we have any line twist. Now, see, you have just a tad, because what's happened is some foreign particles, just a little teeny bit of foreign grass, not much, just, it's hard to see. That is just a little bit of, just a tad of grass there. But that little bit of grass is enough to mess that swivel up.
You know, and I almost had to purposely do that. I went way down the bottom, but do you see that?
See how it's twisted out?
It just came out by itself.
Now, usually once you clear it, now here's the secret of clearing a line twist. Once he's removed the debris and he's tested the swivel, he's tested it to see if it's got 15 or 20 revolutions like that, and it does. Now make 1 or 2 casts and it'll all come out.
That's right.
And now after he retrieves it, it should be like mine. Mine is all perfect and there's no line twist in mine. Now, I'll test mine first. No line twist. Let it go. See, it's not twisting at all. The line is just laying in a big loop. It's perfect. No line twist. Let's just check Fred's line. See if there's line twist here. You just take a little bit, pull it back together. Well, there's a little teeny bit of line twist. He still has some, but after about 1 or 2 more casts, that should eliminate. Also, another way to eliminate line twist when it happens, Fred's holding his rod up in the air like this and letting that last part twist out.
You know, look. See, this is why I went back. I never got all of the weeds off.
Okay, there's another weed. There's another little piece of weed. And that little piece of weed will do it. And that is probably about right. Now you make it 1 or 2 more casts, and let's check them out. I'll make another long cast out there. If a fish doesn't bite it on the way in, we don't want to fish this cast because it'll mess up our whole deal about line twist. Okay, get it in there. Don't get away from that fish. There we go. Okay, now
let's see.
Let's see if I have line twist. I don't think I have. I don't have any line twist.
No line twist.
Okay.
No line twist.
Okay.
No line.
So that's how you eliminate it. But now, sometimes when you make a cast in a muddy water or sandy banked areas, the swivel can land and get a grain of sand that you can't see. And the only way to get that out is to take the swivel and kind of rock it back and forth just a little bit, and it'll just fall right out on its own. And then to test it, just spin it again. If it spins those 15 or 20 or 30 times, that is perfect, and you'll never have line twist. But you have to keep mending and watching and paying attention to that swivel, because that's the key to keeping line twist.
But Roland, you know, even though this lure comes through many, many types of vegetation, almost all baits that we use anywhere, no matter what they are, you have to tend the line, you have to tend everything.
Sure.
It isn't like it's something unusual. We just want to make sure that you're fully satisfied and you know how this lure functions.
Because the biggest complaint I've seen with people that don't know how to handle line twist is they say, it twists my line. And the first thing I do is look at their swivel, and their swivel's messed up. You don't have to oil the swivel, but you do have to make sure that the little filamentous algae, the blue-green algae and the green algae that are so prevalent in a lot of the southern waters, none of that algae gets wrapped on the shaft. Now you can pick it all out and pull it all apart. But if you clear the swivel, hook it right, and use 14-pound test line or better, you'll never have any trouble with line twist.
Absolutely not.
Now remember, folks, these were shot live on location as they actually occurred. There's one. I got one. Helicopter, son. Oh, there he is. There, boy, what a fish. Oh, he's got it. Way to go, boy. He's coming after it. He's got it.
Well, this new helicopter lure, it's got some great top water action on it. Just then I had a cuda go after it.
Roland, what about those toothy critters in the salt water? You know, I haven't had much application on that at all.
Well, you know, let's just take pike or some type of a fish like that. I just take like a number 6 wire or some fairly small wire, and I'll just go through it and twist the line about 6 times. Twist this about 6 times like this, and we do what they call the haywire twist, and then do a barrel roll about 4 or 5 times. And when you finally, and this wire is pretty neat to work with. You finally bend it up like this, hold it with your finger, and twist it around like this, and it breaks right off even. Now I've broken the line, and it's all just a straight shot deal. So now I can make another loop at the front, up here, and do it the same way. And so I have about a 6 or 8 inch piece of 30 or 40 pound test Monel stainless steel wire.
Leader, yeah.
Well,
so
leader
so even sharks probably won't bite this
Well, now,
one, too.
speaking of sharks, let's do another thing. Let's get some 200-pound test leader like this, and let's go right through the head of the thing and just run that thing right down. And now what I'll do, now watch this. This is really slick. Take a big treble hook, great big treble hook like this. It's harder to do, and I might have a little bit of a hard time with this. But twist this over. This is real heavy-duty wire. And now, see if I get it right. It's hard to twist.
This really works. This really works.
Yeah, but I almost need pliers. This is such heavy leader that it's going to be hard to do. But anyway, twist it around 5 or 6 times. This is really heavy-duty stuff. And now, when I finally have it twisted enough, I bend that tag end up, right like this. Remember, this is 200-pound test leader, but you break it up and then make a little section right here to twist it with. And now I rotate it. Oh boy, it's hard to do. I'm going to have to almost take my pliers and rotate it around this way, and it broke right off. Broke right off even. So now you have a real nice twisted wire. Now take your helicopter and slide it right down over that. Pull that thing right up in there.
Put the legs in between.
Put the legs in between
the tips of the hook.
The tips of the hook, like this. And now I have a super rig for big, huge kingfish, big, huge barracuda, giant sharks, and all those big, toothy critters that are out there in the ocean. He's got it. He's got the helicopter. Oh, he's got the helicopter. No, it's a big tarpon. A big tarpon. That's fishing, boys.
Alligator.
That thing there will work. Now, before I go any farther, the swivel needs to go on this loop. Now, that's not hard. You can take your O-ring and open it up and put your little swivel right there over the O-ring, and now the other end of the line goes to the swivel. And now the whole thing swivels with the swivel up here because the treble hook is down here. So that is a little bit different. You need a treble hook, you need some heavy leader, but it'll certainly work on those big, toothy saltwater fish.
But it might work better than any other lure you've ever used in that shallow water.
Oh, I've caught hundreds of big, toothy sharks and barracudas on this lure. Absolutely wonderful.
Snooks?
Snook. But you don't need big leader for snook. Let's take them to the lake and show them some more features. Lily pads represent one of the best types of cover for bass and the best things for fishing helicopters. There's 30 or 40 species of lily pads around the country, and as the helicopter hits those little open areas in between the pads, it rotates and of course it swivels down and helicopters down in little holes. It swivels and spins even across the lily pads themselves, and I can work it much like a jig but much like a buzzbait at the same time. Let it helicopter in the little holes and just keep it on the top. Or I can just use it as a buzzbait. I can just reel it steady all the way across the lily pads and just keep it coming. Just point my rod right at the lure and just helicopter it just right across the surface like a buzzbait. Now, I can go a lot faster. Of course, the lure is weedless, so I can really come cranking across there. And sometimes you want a lot of speed coming through pads like this because the fish are just on an ambush point like these lilies, and real fast, high-speed buzzing action sometimes really gets them angry. After 3 or 4 casts in a spot like this, I'll say, well, maybe there's not a fish there because I should have made them angry. The anger reflex is really, really a big point here. When you find a small patch of weeds like this, make 3 or 4 fast casts to it. If you don't get a strike, well, then move on. Well, you know, Fred, we've shown them how to hook the helicopter on the hook, and we've shown them the different places to fish it. We've shown them how to set the hook. You know, I guess all I can say now, you got to go out there and try the helicopter because it's going to produce more and bigger fish for you. I don't care if you're fishing from Connecticut to California. This will produce more big fish for you than any other lure you've had in a long, long time. So good luck.
Get 'em. Get 'em. Just go get 'em.